What's up, folks? It's been a minute since I've actually created a video myself, mostly just interviews lately. However, I just wanted to cover a pattern that has been working very well for me in the market lately, and it's kind of been almost a eureka moment. And I'll show you what that pattern is here. It is just the ascending triangle, right? So it looks like this, and then we get the break of the highs and the move up. Also, this one offers some pretty good risk to reward as well, and then we get the move up. And the reason that this pattern has been working so well for me is it's all about risk to reward. Like, the patterns are just a way to manage your risk, right? And when you can get your risk really tight below the breakout level, when you have this pattern, it should break to the upside, and you know exactly where you're wrong, right? If it starts coming down below this level right here, you're wrong. As you see this pattern kind of taking place, you know, we've made 3 pushes to the highs or something like that. On this pullback, like, you could just be watching the tape. Any kind of indication of a turn, okay, I'm going to take a position and basically get that stop right to break even. And then as we push up, I can add, again, that stop goes to break even, and then we can ride the move out. And this is how we can actually play a move with size instead of just doing the micro scalping that I usually do. Anyway, a lot of talk, I want to give some examples here. TTOO had a lot of triangles today. That's what I want to call them. They're basically just triangles, right? It's just this. So triangles, let's look for some triangles here. TTOO. Where can we see some triangles? Well, I'd say right off the gate, this one, it kind of broke down a little bit early, but then it starts to get really tight at the end here, and this bounce did not reclaim these recent highs, and then we fail. So there's a mini triangle right there, and then a larger triangle. Well, we got a mini triangle right here on the reversal, right? We got higher low, gets really tight. And again, like, where's your risk? Your risk is just, you're watching for this breakout to happen, you're watching for the volume to come in, and your risk is basically break even wherever you buy, right? You don't want to see a down tick after that. I mean, that's how tight the risk is. And that's what it's all about, right? Good risk to reward opportunities. So that breaks out and then obviously goes higher. And then within that triangle, you have a larger triangle, right? We saw this triangle, but what about this larger triangle? Again, goes up to these highs, gets pretty tight, and then breaks out. And then there's a triangle to the downside. After it breaks out, now we got lower high, lower high, lower high, all the way down into this level, gets pretty tight, breakdown. And I'd say that's the biggest thing, is you want to see that tightness. Like, this tightness right here is so nice. This is A+. That tightness right there, because that's what the risk is. If it's a sloppy triangle, there's got to be a definite place. Like, you just see it. You see where the risk is, and it's tight. If it's a loose risk, or you don't know where to put your risk, well, that's not a good setup, right? Then we have another triangle, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low. Boom. Look at that breakout. Beautiful. Beautiful. So this is just one stock. Offered so many triangle plays today. TTOO. I actually did pretty well on it. Let's look at some other ones. Let's look at DCTH. This one actually failed. This was what I thought was a nice triangle. Coming up here to the highs. Higher low, higher low, higher low, and I thought this was going to curl right back to the highs, so I bought this dip. Didn't work, but again, didn't lose that much money on it, because my stop is basically break even. And then if it were to come back up to the highs, I would have taken a trade and we would have blasted through the highs, hopefully. So could have really gotten some size on there. Let's look at another one. We got EBET. This one's not a triangle. This one is just a regular flag, right? This move right here didn't come back to the highs. If this move right here would have bounced back to the highs, then we would be looking for the triangle, right? We'd be looking for the dips. We'd be looking to buy them up. Didn't do that. Went flat and then sold off. So EBET, no good. Another good one was DLO today. DLO, look at this one. This is A+ if I've ever seen it. Look at that. Pre-market highs right up here. This thing breaks through pre-market high instantly. 21 is a level. And what do? We break these lows flush below these lows and instantly reclaim and then go higher. That's an A+ setup right there. And then what do we get? We get a triangle up at 23 here. Higher low, higher low, higher low, breaks the triangle. Now in this case, right, this is not an A+ triangle, because where's your risk? Well, it never got tight. It never got tight right at the high, so you don't have a place to put your risk really. I guess you could take it on the break, and then you're probably going to get stopped out, and then maybe you could take it again as it like holds the 9 EMA or whatever. It's just a little hairy, right? You see, this is not a good example. It's a good triangle, but it didn't offer you a really nice entry. Also, one thing I should say is the triangles seem to be a lot cleaner in Pennyland. When I say Pennyland, I'm talking stocks, that are below $1 and they trade at these thousandths increments, whereas a regular stock doesn't. And I'd say that large caps actually have some pretty clean triangles too. And again, it's probably because they're higher priced and they're trading at a cent, versus some of these small caps. It's just the increments. There's not as many prices that the stock can trade at. The patterns just don't look as clean. All right. And so I think that's about it. But I think the takeaway here is you want to get the risk as tight as possible. You want to see a move that has that like consolidation that is so minute right there, right? Because now we can buy this dip, we can buy this dip, and then as it starts to go, we buy the breakout. And this just, if the pattern works, it should give you a nice move. You can actually hold through the move. Your risk is really, really tight, and you know where you're wrong. You know exactly where you're wrong. So this pattern has been working really well for me. I've just been able to see tons and tons of triangles, and then just scalping the price action within them. So that's been really great. Hope this helped you. If you're hyper scalping and you can't figure this out, well, maybe try just trading the triangles. Try to trade the patterns. Only hyper scalp within a valid triangle and see if that works for you. Otherwise, drop comments if you have questions. Happy to answer them. Also, like the video. That'd be awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next one.